First, this evening, a major multi-agency investigation is underway to determine what led to a plane entering Jamaica's airspace and the subsequent emergency landing in Rocky Point, Clarendon. The occupants and pilot of the aircraft are still being sought, as well as whatever cargo was on board. We have extensive team coverage of this developing story. Up first, our reporter Dwayne Anderson was on the scene last night.
It was not the typical Saturday evening for residents of Rocky Point in Clarendon. They told us the ordeal started minutes after 6 when an unknown plane began circling the area.
While we're on the ball going to play some ball, we see this aircraft, small aircraft fly past, go to the east, so we never too pay no mind. So maybe a 2 minutes after here we see it come back, and then we see it come up as a come land. You see me I say, so we say, I want to go on here. So then next thing we know, the man them go on them boat and them drive come up here and them say, yo, plane crash up there and something, and then everybody run come up here. See me I say?
Because it passed low right over here, no one to Friday. We have to jet, but to some look. You see, you go back over the hill and then you come back with one bright light and a search. And then when you see a bloop. Well loud man, everybody here back way back up man, well loud man.
Getting to the site was tricky. The water was low in some parts and 5 feet deep in others. Fisherfolk familiar with the area led the way. They told us crocodiles frequent the water in these parts. Luckily, we did not encounter any of the reptiles in the dark while on our journey. Now, once on the scene, we observed several things. The plane bore a Mexican flag. Whoever was inside had also packed for the journey, as indicated by the bottles of drinking water we saw scattered. We checked, and the water brand is traced back to Mexico. No, we did not go into the plane to help preserve the site for investigators. But this amateur footage from residents who went aboard showed what inside the unit looked like. Most people we spoke with said they went to the site to help anyone who may have been injured.
At first we worry and I wonder what could have gone because we think whole heap of scenarios. You see me I say? They don't come up here and see for yourself, so you look at the plane because see the bottom there. So you look like it land right there so and then it go way up more good because stop, you see it? So that's why we hear reload noise and something. Because we were frightened at first, yeah, because we are wonder what go on here so.
I'm hoping that it just crashed for a good reason, it was just malfunction and crash and nothing else. But I can't, comment on what happened and stuff. I'm just hoping that it crashed that way.
But concern for the occupants or pilots' safety quickly turned to curiosity. People started to ask, where did the occupants or pilot go? What happened to whatever cargo was being transported? And was this a crash or an emergency landing for something more sinister? Getting the answers depended heavily on finding the occupants of the plane. And so the security forces set about searching. Some of the soldiers and police searched the area on foot. We saw as they checked abandoned clothes. Even the fire unit that came on the scene eventually left. There were no victims to assist or blaze to put out. Sea and air support were also called in to help. But hours of searching proved futile. Police and military personnel have since secured the crash site, but it remains to be seen how much useful information they'll be able to gather, because from what we observed and what we were told, persons vandalized and appeared to have stolen contents from the airplane. Reporting from Rocky Point here in Clarendon, I'm Dwayne Anderson for TVJ News.
Meanwhile, the police are appealing to residents of Rocky Point to stay away from the crash site. Lawmen say they had challenges securing the aircraft. People who vandalized the aircraft may also find themselves in trouble with the law. We have more in this report from Cody Ann Barrett.
In this amateur video, people are heard saying they will take whatever they can from the aircraft. We observed that the police scene of crime van was one of the last to arrive in Rocky Point last night, long after the site was compromised by scores of people. Head of the Clarendon Police, Senior Superintendent Glenford Miller, admitted that securing the crash site has been a challenge. He, however, explained to our news center that so far they have no evidence indicating that residents found anything illicit aboard the aircraft. The commanding officer said efforts are being made to cut off access to the site. As for people who vandalized the aircraft, they may find themselves in problem with the law for vandalizing property that is part of an active investigation.
By virtue of where the plane is, it is a little difficult for our police personnel to be posted on a 24-hour system because it is out there in the mangrove, so it is between land and sea. But the Marine Police is giving us some amount of support in relation to coverage out there on the sea.
As for the pilot or any crew that was aboard, Senior Superintendent Miller says there is still no sign of them, but the search is continuing.
The police and the military would have gone on the scene. Based upon it's a red and white plane, double engine. Based upon our investigation so far, no one has been located so far who would have been traveling in that plane. So the pilot, or if there was passengers, no one has been located. We would have contacted our marine base or a marine to actually canvass the sea out there to see if anyone would have actually fell overboard and in the waters. But today again we will step up our investigation to see if we can locate any survivor from that plane.
Cody and Barrett, TVJ News.